When I came home early to my off-grid cabin, I found an HOA Karen dragging her furniture inside, claiming the place was abandoned. She even called the cops when I told her to leave, but little did she know. The entire break-in was caught on my 24/7 surveillance cameras. After 20 years in city chaos, I bought my dream retreat, a quiet, wooded cabin miles away from any HOA, traffic, or nosy neighbors. I worked remotely, kept to myself, and enjoyed the kind of peace you can't buy in suburbia. The cabin sat on 4 acres of pine forest, with a small stream out back. I had security cameras installed all around, motion-activated, infrared, cloud-backed, everything. I'd seen too many stories of trespassers and opportunists. Most of my neighbors were respectful rural folks. But about a mile away was a newer housing development, Maple Heights, a luxury HOA community run by a woman named Karen Douglas. I'd met her once at a local supply store. She wore oversized sunglasses indoors and spoke like she was the mayor. "Oh, you live up by the old logging road?" she'd said, wrinkling her nose. "That's outside Maple Heights." "No HOA there? Must be messy," I'd smiled politely. "I like it that way," she'd scoffed. "Well, that kind of freedom leads to trouble. People need structure." I thought that was the end of it, until one Friday afternoon when structure decided to move into my house. That week, I had a business trip 2 hours away. I left early Wednesday and wasn't due back until Saturday, but Friday morning the client canceled, so I decided to surprise myself with an early return home. When I pulled up the gravel driveway, something felt off. My gate was open. There was a moving truck parked by the porch, and through the window, I saw boxes, my boxes, stacked on the lawn, while someone dragged furniture inside. At first, I thought maybe it was a contractor or a mix-up. But then I saw her, Karen Douglas in yoga pants and a sun hat, carrying a lamp into my living room like she owned the place. I parked quietly, got out, and recorded on my phone as I approached. "Hey," I called. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" She spun around, startled, then had the audacity to look annoyed. "Excuse me? Who are you? Who am I?" I said, walking up to the porch. "I live here." She crossed her arms. "No, you used to live here. The HOA determined this cabin was abandoned. We're repurposing it as a community guest property." I almost laughed. "Repurposing? You broke into my cabin," she scoffed. "Don't get dramatic." The door was unlocked. It wasn't. She'd clearly broken the side latch. "I'm calling the cops," I said, pulling out my phone. She smirked. "Oh, I already did. You're trespassing on HOA property." That's when I realized how delusional she really was. Within 15 minutes, a patrol car pulled up. She waved frantically, shouting, "Officers! Arrest this man! He's refusing to leave!" The 2 deputies stepped out, looking between us. One asked, "Ma'am, what's going on here?" Karen jumped in before I could speak. "This man abandoned this home months ago. We, the HOA, are taking possession." I handed the officer my driver's license. "Name's Daniel Harris. I own this cabin. Here's my deed, registration, and property tax receipt." Karen's face froze as I produced all the paperwork from my truck's glove box. The officer turned to her. "Ma'am, do you have any proof this property belongs to your HOA?" She hesitated. "Well, it's adjacent to our development, and we've been maintaining the road." "That doesn't make it yours," he said flatly, but Karen wasn't giving up. "He's lying. He left weeks ago and we saw no activity." I smiled and said, "Would you like to see the footage?" I pulled out my phone, opened my security app, and streamed live from one of my cameras, the same one that had been recording since the moment she broke in. There she was on video, breaking the side latch, hauling furniture inside, even shouting to her movers, "He'll thank me later." The officer's eyes widened. "Ma'am, you entered without permission and moved his belongings. That's breaking and entering." Karen's confidence drained instantly. "Wait, no. I thought I was trying to help the community." The second officer radioed dispatch. "We're going to need a report team at 512 Clearwater Trail. Possible burglary and property damage." Karen turned pale. "Burglary? I'm the HOA president." The first officer sighed. "Not here, you're not." As they escorted her off my property, I heard her sputter, "You can't do this to me." I was protecting neighborhood standards. One of the officers muttered, "Lady, this isn't even your neighborhood." Later that night, I reviewed all the surveillance footage. It was even worse than I thought. She'd been in my cabin for nearly 3 hours, rearranging furniture, unboxing her own decor, and telling her movers, "This will make a great HOA guest retreat." She even threw some of my personal photos in a box labeled trash. I emailed the full video package to the county sheriff's office and my insurance company, then uploaded a shorter clip to my neighborhood forum, the one HOA members used to brag about community improvements. It spread like wildfire. Comments flooded in. "She did what?" That's illegal, even for an HOA. Serves her right. She's been power tripping for years. By Monday, she'd been removed from the HOA board. 2 board members resigned in embarrassment. And to make things worse for her, the county's legal department opened an investigation for trespassing, property damage, and attempted unlawful possession. A week later, I got a call from the deputy who handled the case. She took a plea deal, he said. Fined and barred from HOA leadership for 5 years. Good, I said. Maybe she'll focus on her own house now, he laughed. She sold it. Moved out of Maple Heights last week. When I hung up, I checked my cameras one last time that night. Not because I was paranoid, but because I loved the irony. The same surveillance she mocked as paranoid nonsense had ended her little empire. The next morning, I installed new signs along my property line, private property, not under HOA jurisdiction, surveillance active 24/7. A few days later, a new neighbor, a quiet retired couple, moved into Karen's old house. They stopped by with pie to say hello. "We heard about what happened," the husband said. "Guess your cameras caught quite the show," I smiled. "Yeah, let's just say the Woods keep their secrets, and their receipts," he chuckled. Well, if anyone tries moving in again, they'll be famous by sunset. And with that, peace returned to my cabin. Because the truth is simple, freedom and privacy don't mix with control freaks. And sometimes the best karma is letting the camera do the talking.